Hello, this is Luke Bramwell. We'll be talking today about jobs now with Bill Dagger. This will be my jobs now presentation. Um, so most schools are focused on why we need change and ways to make change, but are not asking the teachers why they need change and not telling the parents. We keep jumping to how, but we're not looking at the why. So we have current reforms, and we're dealing with new year, new reforms. Every year there's a new solution being laid on schools. And until people get a true understanding of what's going on and why we need to change and what needs to change, then there will be no solutions. We have three recommendations. You cannot and will not solve the problem until you create a culture that will support change. You need to start an awareness with parents, students, and teachers. If you don't, those changes would not occur with those three groups. And in their minds, they will never change. So we must tackle this head on right away. We need to make sure that we are on the same mindset. Those groups, we need to be in accord with each other. So we must change their mind. We must make them very aware of what's going on, what's taking place, pretty much at all times, because we want to be on the same page when that change takes place. This is part of the culture that we're speaking of. Also, another recommendation is complete a needs assessment, and you will never know where we are and where we need to go. So if you do not complete that, you never will know where we're going, where we need to be, where we are coming from, what is our starting point, what is our end point. This is like a map to show us our starting point, end point, where we're going, which way is the proper way, which one is a detour. Another recommendation would be to have deep professional development. Um, if we have deep professional development, then there will be we will refrain from asking teachers to do things that they never have been trained to do. Um, this is a very big aspect of society in general. Society has asked teachers to become the parents, the teachers, their babysitter, their nanny, you name it. Every job is accessible to teachers because society and the culture is changing so much that we're relying on teachers to do things that they weren't trained to do. So we need our professional development to talk to other teachers and have a dialogue of what are the best practices in the classroom. Determining the problem. It's important to allow faculty to discover the problem before sharing it with the parents. If you try to change the schools before you determine what the needs are and what the change needs to be, then you'll overwork yourself. This becomes a big problem with teacher burnout. It becomes a big problem with teacher retention because they haven't determined what the problem is. How can they solve it? You must determine what the problem is, how you got to that point, what steps are we going to take, and what steps are we going to use to make sure if we encounter this problem again, how can we have solutions for it? Schools today, currently elementary schools prep for middle school preps for high school, and high school preps for college. We are currently falling in the area that all individuals do not attend college. This has become a bigger and bigger problem if you want to see it like that. Some people don't see college as the final solution, and everybody's okay with that. But for those who choose to go to college, they must be prepared. And I don't feel that many of our younger people are leaving high school and being well prepared for college. Military requirements. Getting into the military is difficult because you have to have a high school diploma. Half of the students are not passing the academic test, which is the ASVAB. 70% of young people are not eligible for the military, and you have to pass 5 requirements. One being a high school graduate, and they are not taking the GED as they were before. 28% of the graduates last year failed the academic test. 30% are not graduating, and these percentages are increasing 1% each year. That is a problem. We don't have people ready to go into the military. This is the branch that protects our nation. They're not well prepared. I don't want somebody on the front lines who is not well prepared to defend the country. Some of these kids, it's not their fault all the way, but we need to do a better job of preparing them. We need to do a better job of having them get high school diplomas. And we need to do a better job of not just graduating them, but make sure they have skills. Business. If students are not ready for the military, how are they ready for the 21st century? Business executives begin to question if these students are not ready for the military, how are they ready for the 21st century workforce? And that's what business is. It's the workforce. They're about getting the job done. They're about keeping the money going, keeping the society flowing. Everything must work in order. So if they're not prepared for the military, how they are prepared for the workforce? This is a big problem. A lot of them do not have the necessary skills to even graduate high school. So they're not going to go into the workforce well prepared, and that is a big problem. Culture. Culture trumps strategy. According to Dr. Daggett, he states that we have not created a culture to be successful. I must agree with this. I'm seeing a lot of, I don't want to say young people, but society as a whole, just who aren't prepared. They don't have a strategy. That means they don't have a plan. You don't have a plan, you have nothing to follow, and the chances of you being successful are very slim. There are 2 basic skills to be employable. So all initiatives should move in the same direction using the same terminology as to the future of education. The two most basic skills you need to be employable are, number one, use resources, and two, work with others. Now, in schools, this would be considered cheating. So we're telling them one thing, but we're saying another. We must use all the resources that are available to us, and we must work with each other. We must be team players. Take advantage of the resources that are available. That's what's being taught, and that's where certain aspects come into play. You must know how to use it. I think that's a better word than just saying they're cheating. You must be employable, and you must demonstrate those skills that make you employable. The skill gap. There's a skill gap that's keeping people unemployment rates high. Unemployment rates are high right now. They could be higher. They were higher in the past. A couple of years ago, we had a little recession. Some people still think we're in a recession. 89% of high school teachers said that the high schoolers were well prepared for college. 26% of the college professors say they were prepared. Job preparedness. Students are not being prepared for jobs. And 21st century has taken the place of some entry-level jobs. Some people think that some of those old jobs are coming back. They're not. I wish they were coming back, especially with some of those manufacturing jobs, but they're not coming back. And if they do come back, they'll be in a different form. You must be prepared to have 21st century skills that uses technology, awareness of what the skills that are entailed in the job, and how to do it. And also just to train somebody in that particular job also. To survive, kids must be able to be taught skills that will help them to be successful adults. So that's where we want to take them. We want to take them from childhood to adulthood. They're not going to survive long if they don't have certain skills. We've all been through it before. We've all been frustrated, but we've made it through so far to this point. But times are getting harder, and skills must be taught. Teachers, we got to do a better job. Administrators, we have to do a better job. Some of these kids are leaving high school with a diploma, but don't have the necessary survival skills. And that's not going to make it in the 21st century. The new standards and the new tests are going to require that kids be prepared for one set of standards, but are in need of using another set that they have not been taught. So some of this comes off as soft skills that you need to maneuver yourself in society, that you need to be part of the culture, and a lot of these students are not getting that. A lot of these young adults are not receiving that. They're not receiving from the school or at home or in the community. Training teachers. We have to train teachers in order to be the culture necessary to determining the things that must be changed. Teachers have a heavy job. They must keep relearning, retraining, relearning, retraining all the time, constantly. This can be a heavy burden, but it's a necessary burden. So we must be the ones that change the culture, like it or not, and it's necessary. So we must determine what needs to be changed. So we must have a starting point, we must have an end point. But the goal is to make sure that we change the culture from what it is now to something better in the future. We're going to use these 21st century skills to get us there. The plan. Today, we must ensure that our students are job ready and work toward determining what we need to attain success to preparing our students to transition ready for 21st century jobs. We must also collaborate with parents and develop networks that will strengthen the school culture. We must also use relevant resources to do so. There's nothing worse than seeing outdated material, outdated reference points. Some of these teachers are not using things that can relate to students of today. They're using things that they came up, that they used in school, and some of it is not relevant. We must collaborate also with the parents. This is a big thing because parents are the primary resource. We must have them engaged, get them involved with their child's education. And we develop networks that we can use. We're going to call teachers up, parents up. We're going to have them at the parent-teacher conferences. We're going to have them community involvement. We're going to strengthen the culture. And the job, as far as job ready, we need to get these kids ready for the jobs. That's going to be a hard process, though. A lot of them do not have the skills that are necessary. And a lot of them, we need to, even though sometimes we have a rigorous curriculum, we need to go back certain steps because for some of the things that they missed.